Fraction Online is an open-world sandbox MMORPG where you can pretty much collect every single spell in the game and make any build you want. And it just had its major re-release this week. If you're jumping back into the game or you're joining for the first time, then here are some big tips to give you the best start possible. Okay, first up, let's talk about your build. No matter what your starting background you select at the character creator, you can learn every single spell, skill in the game on one character. You can be a full mage and learn all of the sword and bow skills. You can be a full warrior and learn every single magic spell, including all of the dragon breath powers. On top of this, you can respec in the game at any time for I think it's 1,500 gold, letting you completely switch from a warrior to a mage or something in the middle when you get some skills that you want to try or you get a sort of a build that you want to play. So this is the main tip. The only thing that massively impacts your build is the race you pick at the character creator. Some races, like the Blood Demon, for example, gets a +4 boost to intelligence. I believe there's the deer gets the same, making them really good for magic as you'll deal extra magic damage. Whereas, say, the Infernals deal +4 strength, making them fantastic fighters. And if you're really on the fence and you don't know what you're going to try, or you want the flexibility to change mid-game, you could go Human, who get +2 to all attributes. This means you can change around as much as you want in the game and play lots of different builds without having that feeling of, oh, did I pick the wrong race? On top of this, pay attention to the weapons that you try to equip. If you want to cast magic, and magic comes in the form of anything that isn't a weapon skill, make sure you're picking weapons that have spellcasting on them. Go onto the weapon, look at the stats, and on the top you want to look for this spellcasting stat. For example, if you're at the start of the game, the dagger, the bow, the hammer all let you cast magic while equipping it. If you're playing a mage type build, you can do that with those weapons. I'm currently playing a build with a bow where I use fire, ice, or poison arrows and then throw magic at the same time. So like you shoot like elemental arrows and fireballs at the same time. It's like a full mage build with a bow, which is really, really fun. But if you pick something like a sword or an axe, you can't cast the magic. So you have to just take like weapon skills and melee skills. So take this into consideration when picking your weapon and deciding what build you want to be. Okay, the next tip is how to level up much faster. And that is simply to click everything. Every single thing that you interact with in the game for the first time will be discovered. Every plant, every tree, every animal, monster, interact with it and you will discover it, giving you a massive chunk of XP. And these levels get you more points and make you stronger. So if you're hard grinding monsters to try and like fill up your knowledge and get stronger and level like a classic MMO, then make sure you're also taking the time to click on everything. There is also a second planet, second world from the one where you start your character on. So there's two worlds in the game and each one has their own biomes, monsters, plants, fauna, all that stuff. So there's even more stuff to discover if you jump to the next planet. If you've done everything on your planet, jump to the next one, there's even more. So do take the time to branch out, explore the game and really like boost your knowledge. Don't feel like you have to sit in the goblin camp for 10, 20 hours to get all your experience. Okay, next thing that you should be doing in Fraction Online is to catch lots of new horses. The game has had lots of new developments for its full release, and one of them is the new mounts with their own stats. So whenever you see this little horseshoe icon on your map, that means there is a potential horse there. So head over there, craft yourself a net and try and capture them. You drag the net onto your hotbar, you throw it, and then you go over and right click to interact and try and catch it. If you're lucky, you will catch a faster or more durable horse, meaning you can travel faster. There's a lot of traveling in this game, so having a horse with full speed and going much faster will really save you a lot of time. On top of this, whenever you catch a horse, you will unlock its unique skin. So if you catch a white horse, a black horse, a patchy brown horse, you will unlock that as a mount skin, which you can then freely switch to whenever you want, no matter what horse you have equipped. So yeah, this goes for any of the mounts in the game, whatever you catch, all the different types that have been added. Okay, now for something that is really important as you start leveling up and progressing to different parts of the map. And this is make sure you're using presets for your builds. So whenever you go to a campfire, you can save a preset like a loadout and you can switch to a new one. And it's easy to just find one that's strong or fun and try and use that for everything. But lots of the monsters in Fraction Online have resistances, either physical or elemental, and countering them will make you deal more damage and make you defeat them much stronger. For example, if you go to the Fiery Mountain, every monster in that zone is attuned to fire. So if you use fire spells on them, they will be completely immune. And your build benefits by stacking the same element. So if you have like all fire spells, you will add warmth stacks. You will build up more fire damage. If you have all lightning, you will build up more lightning damage and deal more damage. So it makes sense to combo like into the same element. However, if they are immune to the element, you want to switch. So it's good to make sure you have like an ice build, a fire build, a poison build, or different types of physical builds depending on the things you're fighting. So yeah, try and fight all the different mobs in the game and collect all of their abilities so that you have like a different setup for different situations. Especially when you try and fight the late game stuff, you really do need to get those tailored builds that are good for that mob. Okay, now let's talk about housing. One of the most important things you can do in Fractured Online is to build a house. And this isn't just like a cosmetic thing like in some games where it's just a place to hang out. This is actually a very important asset to have in the game. It serves as a place to rest and heal, a place to store items, a place to refine and craft. It is an incredibly important thing in this game. Now, all you need to do is walk up to one of these big empty plots. You'll see if you open the map, lots of these little squares all clustered together. That's like a housing district. If you go over to there, find a house with a roped off area, that means it's vacant, and you walk into it, click the button in the bottom right, the land claim, spend 2,000 gold, and it becomes yours. Now, you might be thinking, but where do I go? What land should I claim? Where should I build my house? And I would suggest build one in a place that gives you the most benefit. If you want to craft heavy weapons, metal armors, metal weapons, things like that, you want to make sure you place it near nodes like copper, iron, and coal. Coal is a very important one because you need this to heat up your smelter no matter what you're crafting. So if you're going into metal production, that is very important to just consider what you're near. If you're not going into metal production, it's not that strict. You can go near, if you're going to do certain types of cloth or certain types of leathers or things, try and find a zone where you can go farm and you might want to build it near there. Another good thing to try and do is build it near an active town. So guilds will come together and take towns. They will take over a town, and in these towns, they can build new production buildings, new refining buildings, and they can develop the town and level it up and make it bigger. So try and place your house near an active town, because then you'll have access to good trade, production, refining things. You'll have access to a lot more stuff. Okay, after that, you have to build your house, and that is an easy thing to mess up. There are certain items that you can build inside your house, and certain items that can only be built outside. So it's very important to make sure you build the right size house. The first thing you have to do is you have to build the foundations, a size of house, and this is the thing where you can make a mistake. I remember playing in the last release that came out, and I made a big 3v3 house thinking bigger is better, right? And there was loads of space inside, but not much space outside. It left very little space outside for coal pits and outside production. So I'd say one of the best things you could do here is build a 2v2 house. Now, it sounds counterproductive, but you can keep chests, refining buildings, and coal pits all outside, and there's loads of room to do that. And then you can put your main crafting stuff inside. But again, this isn't the end of the world if you make the wrong size, and there are some good reasons to have a bigger house if you want certain things in there. If you don't want to join a guild, if you want to play completely solo, it makes sense to have a bigger house to put some of the production buildings in there that you won't have access to without being in a guild. So yeah, it's up to you. I personally would suggest joining a guild and having a smaller house with a bigger outside, but completely your call. Yeah, that's it. Fractured Online, some big tips as a beginner. If you have any questions, let me know. I played a ton of this when it came out in its early release, and I've been playing it again now in its official big re-release. So yeah, if you've got any questions, let me down below. I'll do my best to answer. And if you have any other tips for new players, let them know down below. This is a very fun game, but there is a lot to learn here. So that's it. That's it from me. I'm also going to be doing a updated 2024 review of this. So if this has piqued your interest and you think, this was kind of cool, this game looks interesting, and you want a more heavier review, subscribe to the channel for that if this has just popped up randomly. But that's it. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.